everybody? Welcome back to another Saiyan Strongman's how-to-dos. And today we're going to go over some basic warm-ups and stretches for several different compound lifts, as well as some moving events. We're going to be going over his abductors, adductors, and like we said, a couple of few good stretches. Let's get inside and get started. So the first exercise of the day is actually going to be a simple abductor machine. Glutes are very important to warm up, no matter whether it's deadlift, squat, bench, yoke, overhead press. You want to start always by warming up the hips, and this is a great first exercise. Simple, easy, and in almost every gym. Let's get started. So you're going to want to pick a very light weight to begin with because you're going to be doing a lot of reps. Remember, this is just a warm-up, just to get blood pumping into your hips and get your glutes warmed up. So we're going to actually do a total of 30 reps plus a hold, 10 reps on 3 different positions. So start by sitting into it, reaching and grabbing in front of us, and we go 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alrighty. Now we'll loosen our grip, and without touching anything, we go another 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we hold on for a little bit of back support. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. End of all this, go for a 10-second hold. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I started off at 50 pounds. The reason being is we're going to usually try and do between 5 or 6 sets of this, and each time we go up at about 10 pounds if you can. So I usually end up around 100, 110 pounds, or when I'm a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, push that a little bit. But yeah, great one to start off with. Exercise is actually going to be a weighted stretch. Now this weighted stretch is going to focus on stretching your quads, your hips. Great stretch, and it's also a Saiyan Strongman original. That's why it's also a little bit weird. So let's get to it. So we're going to start off by loading the weight all the way to the bottom. Again, unhinge this for a little bit extra mobility. Tuck your feet under. You're actually going to let yourself drop off, hold yourself up. Oh, this is a great stretch, especially because I know most of y'all don't do your stretch. Not just that, your hips, your quads are some of the biggest muscles on your body, so they're very hard to stretch. So the added weight does a real good job of ripping everything apart. Make it harder by moving any which way to stretch one side or the other a little bit more. Try to hold for about 30 seconds to a minute. We'll come back up. I would try to do this for about 3 to 5 sets. If you're really tight and it's hard for you to stay under there, start with about 15 to 30 seconds and move your way up. This is a great stretch for all of the compound movements we already talked about, all of the moving events we already talked about, and it's just good for your overall health in those areas. So yeah, try out this weird weighted stretch and be that weirdo at the gym. Alright, so the next exercise of the day is going to be yet another weighted stretch. This one is going to be focused mostly on your adductors and your groin. Yet again, this is a great exercise for the blanket statement of compound lifts and moving events. So yeah, let's get started. So, load it all the way up and stick with the theme of being a weirdo. Get in on there. Let the weight rip your hips apart and reach. Now, depending on how flexible you are, you make the stretch more deep by reaching further and further and pulling yourself deeper into it. If you can't get quite that far, or if you can't reach this for one reason or another good way to do it is to push your elbows up against it to add more pressure. And we try and sit here for about 30 seconds to a minute, and yet again between 3 and 5 sets. This may be real uncomfortable at first, but as you get more used to it, it's going to help open up your hips, greatly aid with the power coming through your hips, especially in something like a deadlift, a clean, a squat, anything that really requires that pop from the hips and that openness of the knees. Yeah, that's the stretch. Try it out. So the final exercise of the day is going to be the paused leg press. So you want to pick not a heavy weight, but something that adds a little bit resistance. So if you're a generally strong person, I wouldn't necessarily start with a plate. I would just go straight to 2. You should be decently warmed up and stretched out by now. This is really, really good for more of the compound lifts. I wouldn't necessarily do this before a moving event, but definitely good for stuff like squats, deadlift, bench, etc. So let's get started. So for the purpose of adding it as a compound towards your compound movement, you kind of want to pick whatever stance you would have during a deadlift or a squat. So, through. Now when we come down, we want to make sure that we're letting our knees spread apart. This will allow our hips to get a lot deeper into the lift, and it also will help your hips help you out of the pocket. This is both good for the leg press itself and when you're doing stuff like deadlift and squat. And then we go up. Now you don't have to necessarily pause for as long as I did. 5 to 10 seconds is good. Go. Make sure we rip those knees apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up. Now, to explain a little bit more about the knees, a lot of people make the mistake of allowing their knees just to come back up towards their chest. Now, with this, it's a lot harder to breathe, number one, a lot harder to brace, and a lot harder to get your power. This also translates to deadlift and squat. But as soon as we open the hips up, we allow for a lot more mobility, I can breathe normally, and we can fire out real easy. So try this out, try the paused leg press, and make sure to spread those knees. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Saiyan Strongman's How To Do's. Hopefully today you've learned how to warm up for a variety of different exercises. Join us next time. Subscribe to Barbells and Battlefields Strength and Gaming. Thanks again.